Hey everybody, ChrilK here. Welcome back to a new episode of Let's Play Quantum Break. Our mission now is to get this time machine running and yeah, we have to meet Sophia at the time machine. And where might she be? Up there.
Should probably see how Dr. Amaril's doing.
Hi Sophia. How are you?
How's it look?
The problem is quite simple, really. The power relay is down. You'll need to find a way to reset it up. There, where the light is. I'll lower the ladder for you. What happened to the power relay? Power surge occurred at 7 a.m. this morning, when the machine was activated. 7 a.m.? That's hours before we even got here. Well, the numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie.
Okay, I guess I'm doing some climbing.
Sure.
There's...
Saves me from volunteering.
Seems to be another chronon source around here. I will go and check. Here it is. Come on, climb up there. Oh man, come on. Okay, here we go. Can we build anything? 4 upgrade points available. We need 6 for everything. So let's get started. Maybe I will first have a further look around here. If we missed anything else. What do you have to say?
Dr. Amaral seems convinced that Paul's been to the end of time. Do you think that's true?
Can't be. Otherwise, trying to prevent it would be pointless.
Why?
Because it's already happened.
That's true. Clever girl.
Jack, you've got to see this.
I've got to see what. I'm coming.
I'm serious, Jack. This is big stuff I've got here.
Hey, shouldn't you be keeping an eye on Amaral?
Okay, but first, you need to check out the intel I uncovered.
Okay.
All right. What is all this?
I uploaded all the files I stole on that USB stick from the Monarch security station.
Yes.
I also found a video of your brother.
Uh-oh.
It's on that TV. You're gonna want to see it.
Of course.
Everything else I printed out and put on tables over there.
That's good. Let's see.
Okay. The date is... It's February 28th,
Jesus, Will.
1999. William Joyce.
1999.
After months
First experiment.
arduous work, my machine is finally ready for human testing. Ready is defined by me, since ready is obviously a relative term when you're dealing with the deformation of the chronon field and recreating of black holes' mass density by tangent. Okay, in short summary, I built a time machine, and it works.
We
I'm
know.
gonna prove it, or die. Okay, just need to make some final preparations. When I enter the machine, I will travel clockwise around the corridor. Okay, core is active. Chronon levels are stable. Travel clockwise around the corridor, exiting back into the same location in the near future. This clock is set to my watch. Now, when I exit the machine, there should be a significant difference in time between my watch and the clock in this room. Corridor is locked in place. Okay, setting the date to 5 minutes to the future for the first test. Now, admittedly, traveling to the past would be much more impressive. But I can't travel backwards in time, only as far as the first activation of the machine's core, which is, well, now. Okay. Machine's ready. Monitor is stable. What I'm about to do is gonna change the very fabric. I don't remember.
What happened there?
Okay. The date is...
Yeah, we already know this.
It's February 28th,
Oh, this looks a little bit buggy.
Joyce.
Hey, Amy. What am I looking at here?
Months.
I've been recording
arduous
Monarch
work.
communications with
My
the
machine
radio
is
that Beth left
finally
me.
ready.
I made a compilation of anything
Ready
that seemed like it
is
might
defined
be
by me,
useful.
since ready is obviously a relative term when you're dealing with the deformation of the chronon field and recreating of a black hole's mass density by tangent. Okay, in short summary,
Okay, transcript of Monarch communications. Unknown Monarch personnel. HQ come in. This is the first aid
just
one.
need to make some
We've
final
got a situation
preparations.
here at the hospital.
When I enter
At
the
the
machine,
hospital,
I will
over.
travel
Monarch radio
clockwise
commander,
around
go
the
ahead.
corridor.
First aid one, over.
Core is active.
Known Monarch personnel.
Chronon
It's a
levels
fucking mess
are
down here.
stable.
HQ.
Travel clockwise
Burke
around
showed
the
up
corridor.
for his
Exit back into
wife
the
like
same
we
location
thought. Gibson
in the future.
intercepted him. Burke wouldn't come quietly, so Gibson drew on him and, well, Gibson's dead.
Now,
Burke strangled him with a power
machine,
cord
there should be a
in
significant
full
difference in
sight of
time
half
between my
the
watch
hospital.
and the clock
So
in this room.
that kinda shit over.
Corridor is locked in place.
No, so that kinda shit show
Setting the date
over.
to 5
Yeah,
minutes to the
we
future.
already saw this in
The
the
first
last
test.
movie. Monarch radio commander,
Traveling to the past
do you have
would
the
be more
situation
impressive, but I can't travel
contained?
backwards in time.
Where's
Only
Burke
as
now?
far
Over.
as the first
Unknown Monarch
activation
personnel.
of the machine's
We're
core, which
working.
is-
We're working the scene and wipe the footage. But Gibson didn't have backup, so who knows how many people saw the fight or where they are now. Same goes for Burke. He's in the wind. So is his wife. Over. Monarch radio commander, copy that. First aid one. We'll run with that on our end. Just tidy things up over there. Over and out. Okay, this is also flying. Lifeboat document. Mimo controlling the riverport situation. From Clarice Ogawa to the field team leads. I know the situation is fluid and things are progressing fast, but I want to reiterate our strategy for maintaining control over the city of Riverport. As you all know, we can't actually directly control the city. We don't have the manpower and we don't have the actual authority. It's therefore vital that we maintain a good relationship with the media and the local authorities and have them do much of the heavy lifting for us. Ideally, everything we do should be either undertaken by the authorities under our discreet direction, or in case where we take action ourselves, backed by the powers that be, creating the illusion that Monarch Solution is working in cooperation with legal authorities. Make no mistake, although we've been successful thus far, the situation is not stable and it can change quickly. If key parties in the city lose confidence in us and our ability to handle the crisis, our control will erode very quickly. Therefore, we must nurture this relationship even as we conduct our own operations some of which involve considerable troop mobilization and combat action. This is a constant balancing act, and while I'm confident we can pull it off, there's no room for error. We can't afford to grow complacent and sloppy. Fortunately, we are well prepared for this contingency. Long before we reached this point, we established a good rapport with the mayor, Riverport PD, and other mayor authorities within Riverport, as well as most of the important media outlets. Our strategy is twofold. First, maintain control. It's imperative that we ensure that the city's various power structures remain under our control. This means maintaining a close relationship with numerous individuals and organizations, as well as manipulating the information at their disposal. While Charlie Wincott is unfortunately no longer working on this project due to unforeseen complications, he has set up powerful tools and procedures for scrubbing the internet and identifying and locating problematic situations and individuals. We're stationing people in key locations and maintaining control, often under the guise of advisors and consultants to people in power. They are ready to step in as required. Anybody working in these roles needs to be proactive and project a constant aura of helpful authority and dependability. Diplomacy is the order of the day, people. That's vital for maintaining certain fictions, such as Jack Joyce's culpability in the event at the university, etc. Second, minimize conflict. That is to say, make sure that individuals, whether they're politicians, city officials, police officers, reporters, ordinary citizens, etc., suffer a minimal impact from our activities. If we have to force the situation, needs to take place out of sight and remain entirely contained. Whether containment means misdiscretion, coercion, intimidation, bribery, or some other means depends on the circumstances. But it's vital that nobody is left in a position to complain. To be explicitly clear, this doesn't mean we can eliminate witnesses and cover it up. When people don't come home, others start to ask questions, so that has to be a last resort. I expect all supervisors to monitor their teams closely to ensure things stay on an even keel. I know most of our operatives haven't been trained in that soft touch, and I'll be blunt. The last thing we need is somebody thinking, this is Afghanistan, and smacking a civilian around. We are one YouTube video away from this whole thing blowing up in our faces, so we have to maintain our operational profile throughout. For all of these activities, we have a considerable budget. Monarch Solutions is very well off. We've been building resources for a long time, and this is considered a priority. So we can buy a lot of silence and cooperation from authorities and citizens alike. But that only works as long as those things are for sale. And the movement we're seen as a threat, that opportunity will disappear. If you see a problem, be proactive and call it in. Don't let anything run out of control or think it'll work itself out. We have to be sure the situation can unravel faster than we think, and we have to coordinate our activities properly. Any questions or concerns, please contact me sooner rather than later. Yeah, and this was A letter from Clarice Ogawa, and I think this is the woman who is interrogating us.
Anybody here we can trust?
Fiona. She's my only remaining contact on the inside.
What about this Burke guy? He was under arrest in the same transport as me.
Jury's still out on Burke.
Okay. Monarch employee chart. Head of Monarch, Paul Serene. Creator of Monarch believes end of time is inevitable, is building a survival program for select few. Division leads Martin Hatch. Martin. Monarch spokesperson. Head of security and PR. Serene's key advisor. Working against Serene? Dr. Sophia Emerald, head of research specialist in Chronon technology, only doctor trained to administer Serene's treatment. Intimate relation with Serene? Maybe. Dr. Henry Krim, previous head of research, deceased. We already found him. Key enforcers. Clarice Ogawa, Monarch dispatcher. Allegiance to Martin Hatch, working against Serene? Gibson, head of security, Monarch enforcer, deceased. Carlos, leader of Reaper Squad, loyal to Martin Hatch, deceased. Potential allies within Monarch, Fiona Miller, Chronon researcher, confirmed ally, working with Beth from inside, yes. Liam Burke, Monarch fixer, has questioned Monarch agenda extensively, deemed Monarch traitor for assisting in Jack's escape. Charlie Winkett, Monarch hacker, history of allegiance to Martin Hatch. Current loyalty unknown. And he's a dick, indeed. And I guess he's still loyal to Martin, as far as we saw it on the last movie.
The lifeboat.
Yeah. Well, according to Monarch Communications, Paul Serene just activated that thing.
Far sooner
Okay.
than they were supposed to.
What does that mean?
Means we have less time than I hoped.
Let's see. On the unique nature of the lifeboat, by Dr. Sophia Emerald, August the 18th in 2016. While the lifeboat protocol is fairly straightforward on the surface, it's important that the people involved with the project understand how it radically differs from other survival scenarios against so-called apocalyptic threats. Stutter-proofing, a traditional bunker built to protect the occupants from an environmental hazard, e.g. chemical attack or nuclear fallout, is typically sealed airtight, and the occupants have their own electricity, air supply, provisions, etc. The bunker's interior is isolated from the outside environment, but the lifeboat's design is different. It's not actually sealed, because it doesn't have to be. It does have strong walls and protected access points, but the outside environment is not the problem. It's the lack of the major choice field that enables time to exist that makes the outside hazardous. From a technological standpoint, these differences make the lifeboat's operating principles quite different, particularly with regards to maintenance. Compared to, say, the failure of the life support system is a hermetically sealed survival space. Such as a bunker, the failure of the lifeboat's stutter-proofing system has far more immediate and grave effects. A traditional life support system can be repaired. For instance, a failure in the CO2 scrubbers could pose a significant threat, But with replacement parts and tools, properly trained occupants could easily repair the system before they would feel any ill effects. In fact, almost any mechanical failure short of a full-scale environmental breach can be fixed as long as suitable repair materials and trained personnel are at hand. But its very nature, the stutter-proofing, is different. If it fails, everybody within its area of effect is immediately affected by the zero state and becomes frozen. In a permanent zero state scenario, that means they would have no opportunity to ever effect repairs. There is literally no time to react. The only exception would be personnel wearing an activated chronon harness such as the striker suit. But given that repairing the stutter-proofing system is a highly technical, complicated process requiring an exceptional proficiency in the operation and engineering of chronon technology, this would be a scenario with a low probability of success. It is therefore of utmost importance that the lifeboat stutter-proofing operates reliably and without faults, with multiple fail-safe systems, because if it ever fails, it's unlikely that it can be repaired or restarted. Accordingly, once the lifeboat protocol has been activated, there is no real way to deactivate it other than removing the chronon field regulator. This would be highly inadvisable, as doing so could not only disrupt the stutter-proofing, but more importantly, without the CFR, the lifeboat's rate of chronon particle consumption is increased by a vast margin, effectively reducing its potential operating time to a fraction of what is intended. Unique advantages and risks. However, it's worth pointing out that even though the lifeboat operation has unique hazards, there are also unique advantages. As such advantage is provisions. One such advantage is provisions. A traditional survival scenario in a bunker typically involves a poor quality of meals due to the obvious resourcing problem. Anything that spoils easily is out of the question. In a zero-state scenario, however, spoilage becomes a non-issue. Anything stored outside the stutter-proofed area remains in perfect condition. This advantage doesn't only apply to comestibles, but also makes the storage of medicine, volatile chemicals or other similar articles far less of a problem than it otherwise would be. In fact, given the fact that the city of Riverport is vast compared to the relatively small number of people residing in the lifeboat, in theory, Monarch operatives could venture outside the lifeboat in chronon harnesses and actually enjoy freshly cooked meals simply by entering a restaurant and finding the ready-made dishes that have been prepared, remove them from the zero state to a stutter-proofed area and enjoy them as hot and delicious as if they had just been prepared, which in fact they of course would be. That's clever. To be clear, this is not a recommended activity, as it would be a foolish waste of resources to go after individual meals like that. The above scenario is mentioned here merely to illustrate the point, even though the lifeboat has been designed to operate for decades of subjective time, it doesn't actually need provisions for that long. If the lifeboat's own reserve starts to run low, a well-planned supply run into the city could easily result in a great deal of perfectly preserved supplies. Another advantage is that while the situation outside the lifeboat would be dire, people frozen in the zero state would not actually be dead. If a solution is found to the end of time scenario, everybody would resume their everyday lives most likely with no awareness of time ever having stopped. However, it's hard to know what the exact psychological impact of that knowledge on lifeboat personnel will be. There's a real concern that the pressure of knowing that they have sole responsibility for the survival of the human race, and that there are billions of people outside of the walls of the lifeboat, helpless and unaware, frozen eternally in that last moment, may prove to be crushing for some. On the other hand, knowing that their loved ones are actually not dead and may be saved, are not in any distress, or indeed even aware of the situation, may prove to be a powerful motivating factor that helps us eventually resolve the situation. Of course, the solution to the problem of a permanent zero state is not currently within our reach, and we expect that finding one will take subjective decades. If it is indeed possible, we can but try. It's worth noting that since the people outside lifeboat are indeed not dead, merely stopped, it should be possible for a team of personnel wearing chronon harnesses to exit the lifeboat, retrieve a person and bring them into the lifeboat. However, I advise against adopting this practice for the occupants. That should forever remain a theoretical scenario. Any situation in which somebody is brought in from the outside would cause undue stress on the occupants, who would at that point have to become acutely aware that their loved ones could be brought in. But since the lifeboat has limited space, this could never be allowed. That kind of psychological pressure would likely lead to friction and questions of favoritism, and ultimately increase the risk mission failure. That's right. Next one. Oh no, so yeah, as I said before, you can really stretch the playtime with the help of these, I call it tools. Just texts. I read all the texts because in my opinion it's interesting to read them, and it's also, it helps with the story. But normally I don't like to read so much in computer games, and this episode will also have quite some length because nothing really happens in this episode. I just read text, and this is I think not so super entertaining, but let's do it. So, next text. Monarch Mission Statement 1999. By Paul Serene. Limited distribution for approved employees, like us. I have seen the path ahead, and I know it will be hard. I have founded Monarch Solutions to bring together those who will walk with me. The elite, few whose... to bring together those who will walk with me. The elite, few whose skill, dedication and passion will live on when everything else ends. To that end, first, we will work under my guiding vision of the future, my knowledge of what is coming. We accept that we cannot change our fate, nor can we avoid it. It is a harsh truth, but it is the truth. We will accept it and its full implications, but we will not deviate from our course, nor give it to despair, nor give up the fight. Those of us who share in this knowledge, who learn the triumphs and tragedies of the days and years to come, will look past them and find ways to turn them to our advantages. The grey, uncertain area beyond what is known and will be where we build our empire, and we build it on the hope that we can persevere that the end isn't our end, that we can still succeed. Second, we will expand Monarch's influence and power in all possible spheres: financial, political, cultural, medical, technological, military, to the best of our ability. This is a goal unto itself. We will need to be in a position of exceptional resources and ability to act when the time comes. We will build. We will seek success and profit, not for the sake of wealth and fame, but for the sake of preparedness. So nice words. We will develop science and technology to counter a very specific set of circumstances. This will require extensive research and experimentation, as well as a tremendous financial cost. We will not be daunted by these challenges. We will complete our work. 4. We will not compromise. We recognize that sacrifice is required, and we are willing to pay the cost to meet our goals. There is no alternative to this. Doubts, qualms, and sentiment are luxuries we cannot afford. Whatever we have to do is a lesser evil than the extinction of the entire human race, and to pretend otherwise is weakness. Nothing in the history of our planet has been as important as this. Nothing we have accomplished as a species matters if we fail in our mission. We will not fail. 5. We will not fail. There will be many challenges in the years ahead. I know what's coming. It can't be averted. There is no escaping it. But we can survive it, and we can overcome it, and we will. I am dedicating myself, this company, and every shred of willpower at my disposal to that mission. I expect the same from those who join me on it. Paul Serene. So nice.
This is Serene's original manifesto for Monarch.
They had us practically memorize this.
He actually believes he's doing the right thing.
Yeah,
It's because he doesn't think the fracture can be stopped. And he's wrong.
let's see if he's wrong. 3-phase plan, table of contents. Phase 1, building an empire. This was the phase from February 1999 to July 2010. Formation of Monarch Solutions, lucrative investments, global expansion, employee recruitment. Phase 2, preparing for the future. July 2010 to October 2016. Growth 0 buyout. CFR preparation, Chronon tech development, militarization. Phase 3, the lifeboat protocol. October 2016 to the end of time. Time machine core haste. Chronon tech rollout. Remove threats to lifeboat protocol. Initiate lifeboat protocol. Okay, that was everything. Let's talk to Beth.
Was that Paul?
That's how he arrived in the past.
How's that possible? It wasn't even the same time machine he entered at the university.
That's one question I still don't have an answer for.
Is the city still hunting for me?
In full force. There's an entire webpage dedicated to potential Jackjoy sightings. So I've been filling it in with false leads for fun. Do you want to pitch in?
Of course.
Post that I was spotted in the back of a catering van somewhere.
You can do better than that. But okay, I'll let them know.
What's on the computer?
Monarch files I uploaded, and I kept the juiciest stuff on screen for you.
Oh yeah, let's read it. From Sophia Emerald to Manuel Porretta. Dr. Porretta, I'm attaching Paul Zarin's most recent entry in his dream journal. I'm growing increasingly concerned with the meaning behind these dreams, but I need a second opinion. I can treat Paul's sickness, really. As far as I can determine, the Chronon syndrome is more a metaphysical condition than the actual medical issue. But I'm a physicist. I'm very much out of my depth with all this. This exercise was meant to help alleviate stress, to ease Paul's symptoms, but so far it has resulted in the opposite. Time is of the essence. His condition is getting worse by the day. Dr. Sophia Emerald. Okay, this here is now the Dream Journal 5 from Paul Zarin. My 5th entry. I recall moving through a wheat field that once belonged to my grandparents. I pressed the wheat stalks to the side with my hands, softly sifting through them at first, but I pressed forward. The stalks began to warp and curl around my arms, providing resistance to my every move. The entire field began to solidify in an unbreakable material, with my body entangled in the mess. I desperately tried to pull myself free, but every movement led to a burning sensation. The world desaturated, time stopped. I heard the unmistakable sound of my greatest fear approaching: shifters. They emerged from all sides surrounding me. I looked into the distance and saw a blurry figure approaching. He tried to yell, but the words wouldn't escape his throat, instead transforming into an endless shriek pulsing through my ears. His every movement and sound transformed into an agonizing discomfort all throughout my body, and until it became completely unbearable. The pain trumped logic. I needed to make it stop. I needed to make it all stop. I grew violent, blindly lashing out at the figure, tearing him apart. I needed to destroy the source of motion and sound that caused me such discomfort. The pain stopped as I took the figure's life, and as he died, his identity became clearer. It was me. I had become the very threat that I once feared, but I did not fear anymore. I felt something very clear, very pure. I turned around to discover Jack behind me. He didn't move, but I could somehow understand his intent. He welcomed me. Every misunderstanding, all the pain we had caused one another was forgotten. We were part of a higher consciousness. I heard a voice behind me, Dr. Kim. He joined us. He told me that time was once the fire in which we burned. He told me we would burn no more. Happy ending. Okay. This here was Paul, no? Yeah.
Okay. The date is... It's February 28th, 1999. William Joyce.
Oh, this is William.
After months of
Okay.
arduous work, my machine is finally ready for human testing. Ready as defined by me, since ready is obviously a relative term when you're dealing with the deformation of the chronon field.
Oh, we can enter this room here. We have not been there already. Let's get in there. What do we have here? We have not been in there yet. I first want to go to Dr. Emerald. Does she have anything to tell us? Yes.
So what was the deal with the power thing?
The power relay is down. You can climb the ladder I lowered to find out what's wrong with it.
Okay, let's do it. Let's first do this.
Okay. The console here's got 2 red lights, 1 green one.
You'll have to reset the power to the 2 stations with the red lights before activating the relay. Both stations are located above the machine. Just follow the cables to the red lights.
Above the machine. The perfect place for a reset switch, Will.
Okay guys, and this will happen in the next episode of Let's Play Quantum Break. Thanks a lot for watching and see you tomorrow in the next episode. Have a good time, bye bye.